Hi everyone. Hopefully it's working okay. It's been a couple of months since I've done a live stream. And YouTube's all changing, and I've not used the new system yet. I'm still using the old one. But soon that'll be gone, so that's going to be interesting. Right. Hopefully I've got sound and stuff. Let me know if it doesn't work. Should be alright. I've just done an update to OBS as well, so hopefully it's going to behave. We'll see. Alright. Well, good. I think it's alright. So, how are you? Don't forget to say stuff down in the chat there. See who's here. So say hello down there. And we'll have a chat. Ask me anything, I suppose. Could do that. So I've got a couple of things I want to tinker around with. Well, kind of. Discuss at least. We may tinker around with some stuff. Hey Adam, how's it going? And yeah, so I've got a little project I've been working on recently, and it's kind of secretive, but I highly doubt anyone that watches my channel is going to really care about what I'm doing, or the people which I probably don't really want to know how it works probably aren't going to see this either, so yeah, probably doesn't matter. Working on it, I don't know, I put in way too much time on it really actually. I've been past week I've been working on it, tinkering around with it, and I've ordered a whole bunch of stuff. I've got a bit crazy, and so I've got dozens of items coming from Mailbag, because I need to make a batch of these things. So when I do actually have the design finished, I need to actually make about probably 10 of them. Probably not. Probably 8 would be enough actually. Discord? No, I don't have a Discord server. I do have Discord, but I don't actually use it. So, yeah. I was on a YouTuber one, but I left that. I clicked something wrong and left it accidentally, and I haven't bothered going back. It's more about makers, and I don't know, I just didn't really fit in that well. Anyway. Yes, so waffle. So yes, I've got some things I want to show you, just what I've been working on to explain what this project is I'm working on at the moment. It's a little bit interesting. I'll show you some screenshots and some things like that, some photos from the scope, doing decoding of the serial interface, show you what I'm having to figure out. I'll take you some screen images using the Keysight. I've used that one. I did original decoding on the Siglent SDS2102 because it's just a UI interface, but it's a bit of a weird one. It's not traditional UI, it's reversed. Anyway, but the scopes can decode it. But the Siglent doesn't display non-printable characters. So if you're trying to do decoding, and you got like a shift in or shift out or carriage return, it will just show a blank for that section of the decoding. If you're in ASCII mode. If you're doing hex or decimal decoding, then it's fine. The decimal decoding is what actually really helped on that Siglent, because I was able to then determine what those things were. But on the Keysight scope, the decoding is done a little bit differently. So in the ASCII mode, when you decode on that one, if a shift in, for example, you'll get SI instead of a single character, or a space, you'll get SP for space. So it's in a way it's a bit more on-screen user-friendly, because at a glance you can see what actually the character is, kind of. I don't know how many characters I've actually got in there, but that's the ones I've been using, I've been finding, I should say. I also found the Keysight was a bit more responsive doing decoding. Like if you're trying to scroll the screen left and right to look at the various sections of the serial data, the Keysight is a bit more responsive. It's basically nice and smooth, whereas the Siglent, it'll still do it, but it's a bit, the user interface isn't quite as nice on that one. Like, because you've got a dial you have to turn to actually make it shift sideways, and it is velocity controlled, but it's got like a lag before the velocity control kicks in. So you'll be scrolling across and it'll jump, and then you scroll back and it jumps back, and the bit it keeps jumping is the bit you're trying to see. It's a bit annoying. Anyway, maybe I have to get all the Siglet and say, hey, you want to just fix this little bug? Anyway, yeah, so I ended up taking the screenshots with the Keysight scope and doing that, and so I'll show you those as well as part of that, and just demonstrate what I'm actually talking about when I'm discussing reverse engineering the serial protocol in this thing. Now, the device I'm working on it's called a FarmTech Polaris. It's a timer interface for sports events. Now, these are used for some things events that I work at, and I actually want to interface to it so that I can wirelessly stream the times and the results to a computer somewhere else and have it go straight into the website, so it's immediate. So there's no delays, and because normally what we do right now is the results are written down on a piece of paper, little square paper, and they're written down that time, and it's also referred to as faults. So you've got faults, refusals, and disqualifications. That information is written down on a piece of paper, and then that's then brought to the event secretary, and they have to type it in. Now, I do have a live result system which relies on using a computer or a tablet, which I built a few years ago for a major event, and I've used it a few times, and it works okay, but it's quite labour intensive still, because you have to have a second person there alongside the existing system as a backup, punching this information to a tablet instead. Okay, so in a way it's a bit better, but in other ways it's not much of a benefit, and it can fall over because they're relied on Wi-Fi, and if it gets a bit flaky it can be a real problem. So I'm trying to get away from all that Wi-Fi section of it. Hi Harold. So this is what I've been working on. It's just because I've been wanting to do this for a while, probably 2 years or so. I've been actually wanting to do this particular project, and I've only really sort of started thinking about it properly in the past month or so, and getting my head into actually wanting to do it, because I knew it was quite a big job. So I've been loaned a timer interface and the whole timer system, which is worth a few $1,000s. Right, it's been lent to me so I can work on it, and so from that I've been able to do the decoding of the output from this device, and I've got that going into an Arduino. Well, I had it going into an Arduino Pro Micro initially with an OLED display and a serial interface through the USB back to the computer, so I could see what it's spitting out as well. And from that I basically managed to work on the output from the timer system and get the output that I want and controls that I want on the actual text that comes out of it. But then I found, right, as I was expanding it, once I got the basic functionality working, I was expanding upon it and adding bits on the things that I needed to do, and I realised that I actually ran out of memory. So I had sort of 80% memory used, and I want to add on an SD card as a backup, so it will dump to an SD card as well as sending it wirelessly. And as a memory, I just couldn't fit any more into it, so as that. So then I've gone to an ESP8266. Now the problem I've got with that is that yes, it's got more memory, so I can do more with it. It's got less inputs and less outputs, less accessible ones at least. So because a bunch of them are already used for its built-in memory, it's got a SPI ROM or something built into it, and so although the outputs are on the board, you can't use them because they conflict with the flash memory or whatever it is. So if you use them, you end up crashing the unit or cause all kinds of problems, so you can't actually use them, not really. So that's the next problem I've got. So I've actually ordered some ESP32s, which have got a few more outputs on them, and we'll go from there. Hi Dustin, how's it going? So yeah, it's a big project, and the things I want to basically do, give you a bit more of an overview of, is it's got to have a decent display on it so the person that's using it can see it and verify that what's coming up is correct. They have to have a button interface so they can actually submit information into it. Probably a keyboard interface as well to entering a dog number. Yeah, it's basically the output from this device is UART, but it's active. It's a idle low state. instead of an idle high state. So a standard UART decoding clock on a computer, for example, it can't read it because it's backwards. So you have to flip it. Not a big deal, but I've actually done that. And so it's got to have the button interface, which has got to be usable without looking at it. Okay, and so it has to be quite large buttons and decent distance away, so you can actually hit them without hitting the wrong thing. Okay, because you have to be looking at something else at the same time to do scoring. And the keyboard interface will be another thing, which I may or may not need. I might do that as a separate module, which sends it wirelessly to like a base unit, and then that coordinates between the two. I'm not quite sure I'm going to do that part yet. I've ordered some bits for that. And yet, so if I use an ESP32, I've got Wi-Fi built in, obviously, so I might as well use it. So I'll probably have that, and I also intend to use LoRa. And I've not played with LoRa before, so I've been doing a bit of research on it and trying to get my head around it. It looks pretty simple, really. So I've been researching LoRa a little bit, because that's obviously longer range, but a much lower data rate. So it can't be like, you can't load web pages through it and that sort of stuff, unless you're really patient. So all I'm doing is sending some raw data through it. So the plan is I should be able to use LoRa okay. I won't know actually until I test it out, but it should be okay. But I might have Wi-Fi as a primary, and then if that's a bit flaky, it'll drop back to LoRa and start on LoRa. So, you know, it'll switch between the two automatically. That's what I'm thinking of. But again, it comes down to having enough inputs and outputs on these devices. So, have I looked into the M5 stack implementation of the ESP32, as that has a keyboard over I2C, leaving UART free. M5 stack, not heard of it, so no. Using I2C, okay. Because I'm using I2C for the OLED display. Whether or not that will stay that way, I don't know, but that's what I'm using right now. So I've already using I2C, so it's a case of adding more devices onto that network, isn't it? So it's possible. M5 stack, let's have a look at that. So I'm not familiar with that. So it's a bit of a different project for me. I don't normally do this kind of thing. Oh, great, neighbours are doing something. I've got the window open, it's summertime, so it's a bit hot. M5 stack. Seem to have quite a few things here. I'll have to research that. I'll leave that open. I'll look at it later on. Has a built-in display. Oh, okay. Alright. Oh, okay. And it's got 3 buttons on the front. I actually need 3 buttons. Actually, really, I kind of need 6 actually. But 3 would probably do it. Let's have a look. That could be really helpful. I've already purchased a bunch of displays and bits and pieces, so I've gone for 2. I've purchased a few different ones. So I've got some 2.4 inch displays, and I think I've got some 1.9s or something like that. I spent too much money recently buying bits and pieces which I may or may not even use. LoRa options and can add more buttons. Okay. Right. I will definitely look into this. That might be a good solution. Might simplify some things. How big are displays on these things, does it? I'm just trying to look now. Okay, because I need a display, you know, a couple of inches big at least, really. Because it's got to be used by people with not necessarily great eyesight. Yeah, I'll look at that later on anyway. I'll have a good look at that, study it. Yeah, so I've ordered some LoRa modules, a bunch of those different types, all on the same frequency but different manufacturers, I suppose. So I've got those, and I bought a LoRa gateway in case I need that, and what else? Yeah, a bunch of displays and bits and pieces and some buttons. So I've been working on that quite a bit. So I basically bought everything I think I might need, but there's a good chance I haven't bought everything I need, or I've bought way more than I actually do need. That's entirely possible too. Your connection dropped out. Yeah, my stream is dropping out. I can see that. Though I'm not dropping many frames. I think it's being a little bit flaky. Let's drop the streaming rate down a little bit. Let's just improve this. I've still got it set quite high from last time actually, so let's drop it down a bit. That'll probably help. We're using 868 megahertz. That's the one we use here. So I've ordered a bunch of those. So yeah, that's the plan. Anyway, I'll show you the device. As long as my stream's settled down, I just want to see if it settles or not. If it's still dropping out, I might wait a minute and tweak it some more. See if it keeps behaving. So yeah, so having not played with LoRa before, it's a new thing to me. So hi Josh. So I've got a bit of a learning curve there, which is fine. ESP8266, kind of say ESP8266 and ESP32 are things I've played with a little bit, not much. So I'm mostly Arduino, and even now I haven't used that a huge amount. I've done, I don't know, a dozen projects with it, sort of thing, you know. So I'm still dropping frames. Let's just fix it some more. My interconnection's a pain. Right, so that's hey Chris, how's it going? Oh, you're in Sydney, are you? Excellent. You actually made it there, right then. Cool. It's a shame you couldn't go over here, Chris. It would be nice to see you. Maybe next time, eh? Yeah. I've got 24 watching, that's pretty cool. I haven't live streamed for a couple of months now. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about this project a bit more, and I'll show you what I've done so far, and actually I'll bring some screenshots up, and I'll show you what I've actually decoded first, and I'll show you what I've built so far. You thought it was your cheap hotel Wi-Fi? No, it's definitely my stream dropping. It's I've been dropping back the bitrate, and hopefully it should be okay now. Maybe we'll see how long it goes. Hopefully next year. Yeah, it would be good if you did get over here. I'll definitely catch up with you. Let's have a look. Right. Let's grab your screenshots and I'll chuck them on screen and explain what I'm looking at. Well, what you're looking at. Let's make it bigger. I'm sure I've got the right sequence. We'll have to look. Oh, no, that's right. Okay. Okay, there we go. Just can't grab C++. Yeah. To be honest, I haven't got a clue what language it is. I just write code. I don't know what it's bloody called. Is it C? Is it C++? Is it C++? I don't know. I just write code. And it's probably not wonderful code, but it works. Okay. So this is the screen graph on the key site. And I'm behind a watermark there. Drop down slightly. I don't really see it, but anyway, it's alright. So this is the pulses this thing puts out. Now, there's actually a pulse just over here, which you can't see very well. That's the start pulse. So when the timer starts, it puts out a carriage return, which is what this is here, that first pulse. That's it. Then when you stop it, it puts out these two pulses. So I've actually done a start-stop really quickly. So it will generate these other two pulses within the same capture. All right. And this is the one which I'm interested in. This one I don't really care about, and I'll explain why. Let's go down to the next shot. here we are. That's the first pulse there. So there's the carriage return. So on the signal scope, this will just be blank, or if I'm doing ASCII, decoding, it will be blank. If I'm doing hex or decimal, it shows up as the hex or decimal values, which in decimal is 13. Don't know what the hex was. In fact, it's probably here somewhere. Carriage return. Yeah, there's decimal values there on my desktop, which is why I've got it on the desktop, because it's quick to refer to. Okay, so, so that's the first pulse there, which is the carriage return, which is what it does when it first starts timing. Alright. Now this timer's got light curtains, which it uses, which go either side of an obstacle, and when something passes through, light curtains send a signal to the main timer, which then generates this pulse on the output. Okay, to explain how that works. And then the next pulse, that's the output. So I want this one here. Yep. So this is the second pulse it puts out when the timer is stopped. So it does some more non-printable characters, which is shift out, shift in, space, space. These spaces are fillers, right, for the time, because the time can be 3 decimal places before and after. All right, so 6 digits all up plus decimal place. So this is what it'll output. Now this M section here, that's because I've manually operated the timer. It's got a button on the front, and if I push that, you can manually stop and start the timer instead of using the light curtains. Okay, so it inserts that M if you push the button manually. It's a differentiation. Yeah, it's something it puts in to let you know it's been done manually. Okay, and then in carriage return, so it always ends the packets with the carriage return. And then this section of the pulse, well, of the output, is a bit I don't care about because we don't actually use it. Okay, the timer can be set up to have like a standard time for the course. So if it takes 60 seconds to do this particular course, for example, you can put that into the timer, and if you go over that time, it will start allocating faults. All right, it's called time faults. So they can be preset to whatever you want. But in our system, we don't use that anyway. Ours is all done on a computer. The computer works it all out, so it knows, it knows what the course time is, and it knows what the time of the run was, and it works it out anyway. It does. This bit here, I don't care about. It doesn't matter what it's set to. It doesn't matter what outputs. I just ignore it because I don't need it. And that's that same pulse again, just a couple more shots of it. So yeah, that's what it's basically doing. So as you can see, it's an idle low state, not an idle high state. And when I first connected to my computer, thinking I should be able to read it straight on the computer, I was just getting gibberish and didn't matter what baud rates I set and that sort of stuff. So initial baud rates on this thing were 1200 baud, and I've actually got it down to, well, I've adjusted. I found a menu inside which hides a hidden menu in the background of the timer. I've increased that to 4800 baud. I don't want to go too fast because the output can be plugged into like an external display through a long wire. So if you have too high a baud rate, it could pick up noise and affect the reading. So I've done gone right to the maximum. I'll just increase it a bit to try and get the data through a little bit quicker. Yeah, so that's that part. So yeah, that's what I've decoded. So that's pretty simple in a way, right? Figuring out the baud rates and that sort of stuff. I'm still dropping packets. This is not good. My internet's actually been upgraded, believe it or not. Yeah, upgraded. Sure. I dropped my bitrate down a bit more. So yeah, so initially, okay, so I used the scope to find the baud rate of the output, because I have no idea what the baud rate was. There's no information about it whatsoever, about what it was defaulted to and that sort of stuff. I did find it in the end, in the actual timer itself. I managed to discover it, but initially I was like, well, I don't actually know. And so I was sort of probing around with the scope and trying to figure out what characters it is using to perform certain functions, so I can actually then decode it. So I'll show you what I've done on the desk now. Let's do a zoomed view, shall we? We'll look at that. Although I could actually just use my automatic switcher that's plugged in and turned on. Right. Right, here we go. Oh, and it automatically switched to wide view. Okay, fine. So this is the actual timer unit here itself. That's what it looks like. You can see it's got an antenna on there. I don't actually know what frequency this thing runs on yet. I don't actually need to test it. It might be LoRa, I don't know. The chip that's inside it, I do have no idea down. I did pull this apart, and I pulled the light curtains apart and that sort of stuff, and just saw what was inside them, and I could see what chip was in it. So yeah, it's the chip that's in there does the RF output. It covers a huge frequency range. I think it's something like 100 megahertz to a gigahertz, something like that. It's huge. So it could be anywhere in that range. So I don't actually know what frequency it's running on yet. I actually do intend to find out. Who knows, maybe I can probe the output from this and capture it directly. And if it's using LoRa, maybe I can grab it straight off the antenna without having to do a physical interface. I haven't looked into that part of it yet. I don't have the LoRa stuff, so. And this is the board we've been playing around with. So this is obviously just a breadboard. So here's the OLED display I've been using, and here's the ESP8266, and here's the Arduino Pro Micro, which I was using before. So the only reason I stopped using that is because I ran out of memory on it for using an SD card, which I want to put on. So I need to have it back up to SD card and sending wireless data. So if the wireless falls over or something happens, or gets corrupted, at least I've got to back up an SD card. I'm going to grab the SD card out of the unit and jump it into a computer directly. You know, I need to have it. Everything has to be redundant systems. Everything has to be. It cannot fall over. So yeah, that's basically what I've got there. So I'll explain this a bit more. I'm actually doing a video about this too. I'm going to do a little video explaining it all. So up here, I've just got a level shifter and inverter. Right, so it's using a 2N3904 transistor just here, and I've got the signal coming in, data coming through a resistor, just to drop the current and voltage a little bit for the transistor. And I've got another resistor here which is acting as a pull-up on the output of the transistor. So it's inverting and level shifting, and so the output from this circuit is whatever voltage is on this wire here. So if I need a 3.3 volts input like I do for the ESP8266 and 32, then it's hooked up to the 3.3 volt output. So then that will be pulled to 3.3 volts through the resistor when the transistor's turned off, so it inverts it. Right, pretty simple thing. You can get level shifters and what have you, but I just built something because I had the parts, and you know, it's not much money to do that, and it's nice and quick and easy. I needed that same circuitry for the Arduino as well, because this is using a UART interface and a serial connection, so I'm just having to invert it. I don't know if there's a way of actually telling these devices that the UART is inverted anyway, so it's got a active high state, or idle low, whichever way you want to put it. Maybe one of you guys know. Yeah, so I'll turn the timer on, I'll show you what it does. So that's basically the timer there, and it will just count up like that. It's also got a restart function, so it'll carry on from where you stopped it. Well, if I stop it there, say 8 seconds, I'll wait a few seconds, see when I restart it jumps up. So it doesn't actually stop counting in the background. So if there's like a false trigger on the ending, then you can just restart it and carry on. Right. So it's those kinds of things I've had to deal with, and all that information comes through this cable here. So I'll plug this up and I'll show you what it's doing. So see his little display there. This is spitting out through serial as well. Let's look at that, it's phasing. Right. So ignore the first line, it's just a holder, it's not actually real. And the middle line is where the time goes, the bottom line is where the faults will be put by buttons. Right, so when you start the timer, it says running, and then when you stop it, it says the time. Okay, so it says running to show the time is running, and then it shows the time when you stop it. Okay, so what I actually built on the Arduino, I already had all that working, was I had a button interface. I was just using wires jumping around,
using the internal pull-ups on the Arduino to tie it high. I was just putting the pins down so I could control each one of those digits, so those are actually coded in there working, so I don't have an interface set up on here right now. And also had another button set up for resetting it, so it will start again. So it'll clear that data, and what that will do is then send that data off to the server. So I'll send this to the server with routines and stuff in there to allow for needing to send it multiple times and that sort of stuff, in case there's any collisions. And then reset and be ready for the next one and start over again. So that's what I'm working on. Okay, are we going again now? There we go, we're back. Drop my bitrate down some more. Okay, my internet's been upgraded. I've now got an AC dish. AC is in wireless standard, so it's using 5 gigahertz for the network connection, and it is actually faster. It's significantly faster, but I'm still getting the same issues I was having before with things dropping off and losing packets, stuff like that. So that's not changed. So it's a bit annoying. So yeah, annoying. Anyway. So N5 stack has SD card as well, eh? Okay, well I'll definitely check that out. Thanks for that tip. It may solve some of my problems. If I can use off-the-shelf stuff, which is not too expensive, then it's worth doing. I did buy a bunch of stuff, but not like the SD card. I think I've got one unit here. I purchased a couple more of the same type. So I'm not completely sold on those particular devices. I've never actually used an SD card. It shouldn't be too hard to set up anyway, but I've never actually needed to do it before. So there's a few things I'm doing from the first time I've done them. There's one if I had to invert the input on the scope. Yeah. So the scopes are settable, so you can set the idle low, idle high state, and I just set it to idle low because it's obvious to set it as idle low state. So I think I was scoping something previously. I think the last thing I worked on as well was also idle low state, and so it showed up alright. Yeah, unfortunately where these are, I can't use any cabling. So it's got to be battery powered and everything. The whole lot's got completely handheld wireless. So these things get used in the middle of a field, right? So there's no cabling. Where I work from in my motorhome, my bus, right? That's like the brain of everything. So you have all the computers in there, printers, all the Wi-Fi networking, that sort of stuff. It's all in a motorhome, right? So that does the whole everything. And that can be 200 meters, 300 meters away from where the rings are. So that's the kind of distances I need to be covering, and Wi-Fi doesn't really get it. So if it's close enough, it's okay, but it's not wonderful. Line of sight is also not always guaranteed. Sometimes I've got obstacles like buildings and stuff like that in the way as well. So I have to allow for that sort of thing. So cabling is not an option, unfortunately. Just too hard. There's also potentially, I have to have 6 of these units running at any one time, potentially. Typically we'd probably have 3, maybe 4 on a particularly busy show. But for a major event we'll need 6 running simultaneously. So I need to build at least 6 and have a couple of spares as well, in case something goes wrong. And it's all going to be battery powered, so that's the other consideration I've got there. And there's a plane flying around outside. And you guys can hear it. Farmers doing crop dusting. Yeah, so that's the situation up there. So I need to make sure I've got 8 of them. So I've got spares as well, and I'm looking at probably using some 18650s, something like that, to power it. A couple of those in series. Run times probably I need to have at least 10 hours per day run time. Probably need a bit more than that. If I can get 20 hours out, then I should be able to do a weekend. Oh, okay, right. Ah, so that's what you're talking about. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, my
I have no option here. I've got a direct Ethernet link from my computer and the router, and that's got an Ethernet link from the router to the modem, and the modem is wireless. I have wireless broadband. Cannot get any wired broadband here. No ADSL, no fibre. Can't get it. I live in a rural location, and so I have to use wireless internet. So although I can get up to 50 megabits a second now, download, I can get up to about 15 upload when it's behaving, but I'm still getting drop packets and interruptions, so that part of it's not great. So yeah, that's a bit fun. But it's going fast. I'm liking the speed, but the upload speed, I wish that's 50 megabit upload. That'd be great. Trying to upload a video taking, an hour. And of course, when it gets busy in the evenings, it gets worse. That's why I stream in the mornings, so it should be better, but it's still playing up right now. Now it's upgraded 2 weeks ago, so it's that is it. From my OSP did that in an attempt to try and resolve my issues with the dropped packets and stuff like that, but it's obviously not resolved those issues. Something else is going on. I actually think about changing my network around in case something here is interrupting or affecting the modem, because I have my own wireless router which does all the DHCP. Maybe that is conflicting. I don't know. Never used to be a problem, but it's got worse and worse and worse, so it's been a real pain. Okay, so that's that little plan there. So that's what project I've been working on for the past week, and there's not much to show for it right now. It's been a lot of head scratching and trying to work out what's going on. If I no, I'll plug it. I was going to show you the serial coming out the unit anyway, but I don't really need to see that. Latency, yeah, it varies a bit. I get probably on a good day, I'm getting about 14 millisecond delay. On a bad day, it's a second. Yeah. No, yeah. Anyway, there's not much I can do about the internet connection. This is what is what it is. Unfortunately, it's the only real option I've got. I can do like 4G, but they don't offer enough data, so not really an option. I need 400 gig at least to do video uploads, stuff like that. And the biggest 4G I can get is 200, I think, or 250, something like that. So it's not enough. Alright, it's coffee finished. So yeah, that's what the project. I've got a few things on the go. So Raspberry Pis has just arrived, and that was something I purchased for doing the mypartsbin.com website, which you may or may not know I built. I did do a little video on it and mentioned it a little bit. Hi Manfred. Yeah, not much to show. Cracked the data and managed to build a program add-on. Yeah, that's just the beginning. Once I can read the data, I can do what I want with it. And that's the important thing. I've got to build the whole system, the whole infrastructure is what I've got to build. So yeah, as I was saying, I've got those Raspberry Pis as well. I thought, well, maybe I'll use those as a web server for this system. So these will talk through LoRa to a Raspberry Pi, maybe. I've never used Raspberry Pi either, so that's a new thing for me. I haven't even powered one up yet. They only arrived yesterday. Well, Friday. I opened it up yesterday in the Mailbag, which I'm publishing tomorrow. So they've only just arrived, and I've got to figure out how to use those and if they can even do that feature that I want for this system. Failing that, I was looking at using those to make a web server system to house the MyPartsBin open source software. So I was looking at, because I've made that open source so everyone can just download it off the site and use it themselves. The downloadable version is a rewritten version of the website, so it's not the same code. It looks the same, but it isn't the same, because I also don't want people knowing what the code on the website actually is. So the idea there is to possibly have a download available with a pre-configured file or something, or instructions or something like that, to put the MyPartsBin inventory system onto Raspberry Pi.
You know, that's a nice little project I thought people might do. So you can run their parts inventory on a Raspberry Pi and keep it on that as a standalone local server. You know. SketchUp Jet. Took 2 days to write a MicroPython lib file for WS2812B LED board. Oh, okay. Sounds like a lot of work. Was it a UART SD card logger you showed? No, it's just the SD card interface. So let's get it. It might switch camera views automatically. So I'm over here. Yes, it has. Right. So this is the actual card, which it probably won't focus on because it's a pain like that. There we go. Right, so it's just an SD card. Now, because SD cards apparently are inherently was it SPI? I can't bloody remember. I think they're SPI, aren't they? Not a squared C. So it's basically, they are SPI. So it's basically this connection and a voltage converter. I think that's pretty all they are. Level shifter sort of thing. So yeah, it's just straight in and out. It's not doing too much there really. But I haven't used one before, so I'm not too familiar with what I actually need to do. There's lots of information online about how to do it, so I've read a bit of that and it looks pretty simple. The only problem I've got is having enough inputs and outputs to be able to do it. Which then trying to repair a 110 watt electronic load from Banggood. 110 watt load, is that one of those little PCB ones with like little knob on the end, exposed circuitry, one of those things? No, okay. Yep. Oh, yep. Yeah, so I've got a lot to learn on this particular project. So I've got to build all the infrastructure. So the coding side, I can get the interface as you've seen. I can decode it and do what I want with it. Okay, that part is working, and that wasn't really that hard to do. But doing all the infrastructure part is going to be the hard bit because I've got to do the networking system, both ends, the server end and the sender end, right? So that timer section, which interfaces all this for wireless, that's got to be built. I've got to build a human interface device as well, so I can punch in with buttons for faults and stuff like that. So that end has all got to be built. Then I've got to build the server end, which I've got to receive all this data, handle it, log it correctly, put it into a database, make it publicly viewable immediately, be downloadable. So there's an awful lot I have to actually do, which is why I've been sort of putting it off, been procrastinating a little bit, even though I thought of this idea about 2 years ago. That's when I've been wanting to do it, but I had too many unknowns, and I've been sort of figuring out things as time's gone by, sort of figuring out what I want to do, and yeah, so it's a big project. Yeah. So that's where I'm sort of sitting with that thing right now. Oh, my stream's still playing up. Hold on. Let's drop it some more. This is getting pretty bad. I'm on the lower limit where I should be. Maybe if I don't move around too much, it'll be alright. I'll stop gesturing. Man, this is bad. Yeah, 32 gigabytes seems to be the reliability limit, so I'll agree with that. Anything I've purchased or played with, anything that's been more than 32 gigabyte on SD card, if you've got a 64 gigabyte card, for example, it can be dodgy. I've had problems with them. Whereas it would be fine on 32, and you put 64 in there, it's like, nah. Or it works sometimes and sometimes not, that kind of thing. So yeah, I tend to stick to 32 if I can. So yeah. So what else am I going to talk about? There's a few things. Oh yeah, I've done two reviews yesterday. When I did my Mailbag video, which I recorded for tomorrow,
I did 2 reviews. I did some iFixit toolboxes. After I saw Dave had received some from iFixit, I messaged them and said, "Hey, I have a YouTube channel. Do you fancy sending me some? And I'll do a review on them as well." And they said, "Yeah, sure." And they sent me them, and like it only took a week, and they've already arrived. And I've done a review video. I'll be publishing that on Tuesday. So they sent me 2 toolboxes. So that's quite nice. And the quality is really impressive. Actually, I really like them. They're really nice. They feel really high quality. They're good. And I also picked up I got approached by a company asking if I wanted to review a digital microscope. So I haven't recorded that video yet. I've shown it in the mailbag briefly, just showing that it's arrived and what bits are in the box, kind of thing. That's as far as I've gone with that so far. But I've got a microscope right here. I'm actually tempted to power it up and see what happens. And just have a bit of a play with it before I did a review. Killed a 64 gig in a dash cam, yeah. Yeah, I've had the same problem. Dash cams, don't like them. I've got a dash cam or a couple of dash cams that can take 64 gig cards apparently, but they depending on the brand, I've had good and bad luck. Well, this is not cheap Chinese ones from imported from China off AliExpress. You're not quite sure what you're going to get. These are like name brand ones from shops locally. A bit more expensive to say the least. But you should be able to rely on them. And I've had a couple of different brands. I can't remember which ones they were now. And one was fine, one wasn't. So yeah, I think I had one which was fine, it worked for ages, and it got a bit flaky. And then I changed to another one which then played up and just didn't work at all. So I bought the same brand again as the original, and it worked. So yeah. Nah, I can't remember what dash cam is it? I can't remember what it is now. And it's not a cheap Chinese one. It is a Chinese one, but it's not a cheap one. It's actually one of the more expensive ones. Don't remember now. Don't know what they're called. But they're otherwise good. Oh, this frame dropping is getting ridiculous. Well, how my gearbus story ended. Yes, well, that was how it ended. That video you saw, that was how it ended. They, as you may have seen from subsequent videos, I don't know if you're around at the time or not. They were then downvoting all of my videos after that. As soon as I published that story and they saw it, everything from that story onwards, from that video onwards, was getting downvoted hugely. And it did actually impact my channel. In theory, it's not supposed to, but it actually did. It did actually affect the channel. But that stopped as soon as I hid the voting numbers. So before you could see how many thumbs up and thumbs down it got, and I changed that to be hidden. You could still do the voting, but you couldn't see the counts. And as soon as I changed that, that problem went away. It just ceased. And I left it off for a while, and then turned it back on again, and it's been okay since. So yeah, they basically attacked my channel for me outing them. And yeah, that's how it stands. So whenever I see someone talking about GearBest, I say don't go there because it will end badly for you. I mean, that promotion I did for them and that stuff I did for them, I never got paid for it. So yeah, not great. Hey, I got a couple of free products, but that's about it. That wasn't really, a couple of dollars value is not really worth the video, was it? Yeah. So I don't go near them. Gear bust, yes, that's right. So I started calling them gear bust because you go bust if you use them. I've also had people commenting about issues with the company, just general purchasing things and having no support or lying to them, that sort of stuff. So, yeah, so I've heard. I don't know how true those are. Those are just comments I've received from people. So yeah, my experience wasn't great, as you saw from that video. which is why I outed them. You know, like, hey, watch out. So let's have a quick look at this microscope before my internet completely falls over, and I'll show you what it's doing. Well, I've had some bad comments about Banggood as well, but personally, although I'm affiliated with Banggood as well, obviously they send me stuff from time to time for free, I do buy a lot of stuff from Banggood, right? So I have my own purchasing experience with them, and I've only had one problem, and that ended up getting sorted out. It took about 3 months, but it got sorted out in the end. And so I've never actually had anything particularly bad with Banggood. I've had more bad experiences than AliExpress, although they've always been sorted out as well. So that's why I don't mind recommending those companies, because although things happen, you know, it happens. Nothing always goes 100% right. You're going to get instances where things don't go right. But as long as they don't get sorted out, it's okay. But I've had comments from people saying that they've had problems with Banggood or AliExpress with things not being resolved to their satisfaction. And yeah, I'm sure that happens too. But personally, I've never had that problem. Yeah. Right, let's change views and have a look over here. Get this camera. See, auto switch is working. That's another project I need to finish. It's the auto switcher system, so I can change camera views over here from my keypad, which I've got sitting here somewhere. I thought I had them sitting here. Oh, that's right, I put them away now. I put them away yesterday. Finally. Right. So this is what I was sent. Let's move all this out of the way. So I'll be doing a review on this as well. I haven't done it yet. I haven't had the chance. I might record it today. We'll see how we go. So it's a digital microscope, and if it doesn't wash out too badly, which I think it is, there you go. It looks something like that. So it's a similar form factor as the what was the other one I did? I did a review on ages ago before I got my decent microscope. G600 was it? Something like that. So this is the actual screen. It's got an overlay on there. And there's a microscope section there. Don't know what it does. Pivot. You've got a USB and an SD card. Doesn't have a HDMI catcher in like that. It's got a metal stand. It's got a remote control for adjusting settings on it. It's got this USB input power, which also powers the head and powers the lights, and it's got adjustments here for the lights, turn them on and off and changing the brightness. It's got a little stand, obviously that goes around that shaft there, and it's adjustable height, and it's a pivot stand, so you bolt that down onto there, and then you've got the lights so you can illuminate as you need. Now this light setup is actually something I quite like the idea of. I need something like this for anything I'm doing, so that's good. What I don't see, oh there they are, you know, say the bolts and stuff for that. These are the bits for assembling it in here, so that's all good. So yeah, I'm going to be doing a proper review on this. So I'll be doing a review, I don't know, it'll probably come out next week, I'm guessing. Well, over a week's time. Because this week I'm doing the iFixit toolbox stuff. I'll show you those too in a minute. And so yeah, I'll do this. So it looks right. We'll see how it goes. Something that'll be interesting. We'll put it back together the way it's supposed to go, I suppose. So when I do the review video, it looks right. Is it right? I don't know. Something like that. Yeah, whatever. Shut that in there. Sure was it that way? I don't know. Maybe it's the other way around. Doesn't matter. Very much. I don't think. And I'll show you that toolkit in a minute. iFixit rather generously sent me. That's good. I was actually quite surprised they actually said yes. They seem quite keen, which is really good. I was very happy with that, naturally. So I thought, when I got approached by this, I thought, well, I don't need this microscope myself because obviously I've got that big Eakins one, but other people might be interested in this because it may be a nice budget option for them. I think this is about it's about 120 US, something like that. But they've got a range of different ones, something like that. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, if it's really good quality, then it might be worth doing. But I'll find out when I do the review. But I thought people might be interested. Gives people a chance to see a product without having to buy it. I haven't seen it mentioned anywhere else yet, so why not? And these are the toolkits that iFixit sent me. There were better packaged than this, so I just sort of thrown them together. So we've got this fold-out one, which is exactly the same as one Dave got. It's got this magnetic top case. Always comes with a snack, which is nice. And that's also magnetic. So you can take it out. Various bits in there. These screwdrivers are really nice. I was actually really impressed by this. The head on this, it glides. It's got like a ball race in there. It's really nice. Then you got some, I think it's a ceramic. I'm not sure if it's ceramic or an ABS. I can't quite tell the difference. It feels like plastic, but it could be ceramic. A few tweezers, a couple of little spudger things in here. Big, decent spudger here. One of these. A few other ones, little suction cup things. So it's like if you're working on iPhones and things like that, I suppose maybe you'll need all that, getting things apart, or tablets. And that's actually it. So I've done a proper video on this. You'll see this on Tuesday. And this is the bigger kit. Also comes with a snack. And this has got two screwdrivers. So it's got this. Say these heads, these rolling heads on these feel really nice. They're just dead smooth, beautiful, and they feel beautiful. It's just the quality, just excellent. Yeah, so I'm really pleased with those. And again, you got a really broad set of bits as well, which I also cover in the proper video. And it's got these adapters, like hex and socket set kind of adapters and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, so that's really great. I was very pleased that iFixit said yes, sure, we'll send you something. You see me mention it in Mailbag tomorrow as well when that comes out. And what else am I working on? Good question. What else have I been doing? I've been doing a lot, but I've got a MacBook here which I'm halfway through fixing. It's this one's got a blown GPU. I haven't got battery. It's actually got two problems. It's got a blown GPU, so when it boots up, it gets to the dedicated graphics switch over, and then it dies. The screen goes white and just sits there and gets hot. And then also it's just not recognising a battery plugged in, and it's getting hot around here. So I'm not sure it's. I tried different batteries and it still did it. So I think it's got a charging circuit problem around there somewhere too. So I just haven't got back to it. I've been doing other stuff. I'm not actually desperate for the computer, so it's something I'll get to when I get the chance. I've got 3 more sitting at the bench, which I need to finish fixing too. Right, back here. What am I missing in the chat? End-on Star. You familiar with End-on Star, are you? Hey GB. Yours down. Oh, you've got one as well, have you? Okay. How did you find it? Yeah, binocular microscope. I mean, I've actually been tempted. When I first got my Eakins, I was just about to buy a trinocular. I had them on my watch list. I was thinking about them, on my wish list, and I was getting really close to buying one. Then the Eakins one came up because Dave featured it on his channel, and I thought that looks good. I'm getting that, so I got that instead. But the downside is you got a single microscope, so you don't have 3D vision, and that's
hindering, you know. So in a way I miss the whole trinocular thing. Even though I've never had it, I can see the benefits from having it, because then you get the 3D vision, you get better depth of perception, that sort of stuff. So I'm actually, maybe one day I'll still get one, I don't know, and maybe put the Eakins microscope on top, so I've got base of both worlds, got the Eakins and the trinocular as well, the actual 3D vision. Yeah, I mean, I built my own fume extractor, although I tend to forget to turn it on, to be honest. I did a video on it, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did a video on it. I recorded footage. Did I ever publish it? Let me just have a look. I've got a whole bunch of like in reserve videos sitting here. There's fillers. And it's not in there, so I must have published it. I just 3D printed a box and put some standard carbon filters in it and get off AliExpress or whatever, you know. And I just use a extractor fan with some ducting going down to that box, and it pumps it through, and so it gets it away from your face for a start and gets it down, and then filters it at low pressure because it's a 4 filters in that box. I think it's 4 filters. So was it 3? I can't remember now. So it reduces the pressure going through the filter, so it goes through the filter slower, so it should be more effective. Yeah, decent fume extraction sounds like something you need, Chris. Well, I've got lots of chat to catch up with. And unfortunately I'm a slow reader. Must-Tool, that's the one. Must-Tool, that's the one I was thinking of. Okay, yeah, G1200. So I've got a G600, Must-Tool G600, which I did a review on. And it's okay, it's really cheap, which I think was the main factor in it. That's a review item I picked up for free. And it was okay, it worked alright. And I think I did actually fix some things using it. Because of the magnification. I don't think it claimed it was its actual claimed magnification ratio. I think it was somewhat less. Unless you're really close. But I think it worked okay. It was usable, but it wasn't anywhere near the same sort of quality as getting the Eakins, you know. You can get your pay for to a point. And yeah, so that's set up there. I may even get it away one day. Maybe I'll do a giveaway. Give it away for my 10,000 sub. That's coming up eventually. 10,000 subs. Yeah, that's what I should do. I'm not using it. I might as well give it away. Should do. Let somebody else benefit from it. I might do that. Hi, Dr. Nick. Do. Yeah, I haven't done any like recording quality on those things. I think on the G600 recording, I think I tried it, but I couldn't decode it or something like that. It's something weird like that. Or was it on the Eakins? I can't remember which one it was now. Yeah. So I'll do a video of that. Should I find it for you and link it in? I'll do that. Let me find it. I think I did a couple of videos. I also did one testing the actual efficiency of the airflow. I actually did airflow measurements, but I don't think I published that. I think I've still got that as an unfinished video, so I wasn't really happy with it. Because it's a bit bodgy. I had like a paper cone over the front of the fan to try and force the airflow through the airflow sensor, because I bought an airflow sensor just for doing this testing, to do this video. I never actually published it. And I was doing airflow test measurements, and I was actually getting some conflicting information. It's quite weird. Before I made the cone, I was just doing free airflow over the top of the inlet to the fan. And
having a more open outlet, I was actually getting lower airflow figures. It didn't make any sense. It was a bit interesting. Having a certain amount of back pressure seemed to help it. But I think it was more to do with the airflow through the fan entrance. I think it changed the profile of which part of the fan was pulling the most air, rather from the centre. It started pulling more from the outside, or something like that. That's what I think anyway. Right, let's find this air filter thing. Here we go. I'll paste it in. I did actually, yeah, all the files for this air filter, they're on my Thingiverse page. So they're available to download. You can just download it and print them out. I don't know if you've got a printer though, Chris, have you? I'm not sure if you have or not. Let me just go to my Thingiverse and I'll pull it out for you. And I'll paste that in there as well. Just give me a second. Other people might be interested in this too. So basically, you make each wall of the box, and then you can just put them all together. If Thingiverse ever signs me in. Waiting, spinning. Come on. Probably drop the packet so I didn't sign in. That's my guess. Try again. Oh, this is ridiculously slow. No, it's doing something. Here we go. Right, my things. I'll link straight to the project so you don't have to go finding it. Let's chuck that in. Then I'll catch up the rest of the chat, which I'm now probably way behind of again. Ball cube, yes, because it's a cube shape. Right, where are we? Pathfinder. Tools for reverse engineering hardware software. You probably have to be a bit more specific about what you're trying to achieve. I'm not an expert on it, but oscilloscope can go a long way, which has got serial decoding built in, because you can use oscilloscope to determine the serial protocols, what data's coming out. You can read it on the scope if you've got decoding, right? So you can do it on that if it's only a small packet. If you've got a lot of data, then probably not. But at least tell you what protocols you need to set your capturing up to. You know, what baud rates, what kind of decoding you need, that kind of thing. Idle states, that sort of stuff. You can figure all that out with the scope. I don't know. I picked up a bus pirate recently and something else, which I used the bus pirate a little bit the other day when I was trying to decode this thing. It wasn't really giving me any benefit over using an FTDI, which I've got here somewhere. One of these. This is an FTDI. Try and get some focus. Right, so it's just a USB to serial interface. Right, so you can read out with this. It's used for Arduino. You just plug them in. But you can also use that for standard UART decoding, and it's really cheap. G1200's got a 7-inch screen and 12 megapixel. Wow, I'm way behind this chat. I'm like 5 minutes behind. Just jumped. Yeah, Dustin. Yeah, you do kind of get used to soldering. You get more of a case of doing it by feel. You're lining vertically up, you know, and it's just you can do it. I have to sort of go between the camera and actual view and the camera. So I'm kind of used to it as well, but I think I prefer to have 3D vision because I can certainly see times. But mainly when I'm doing inspection, I'm trying to look at a circuit board and find damage. Like if I'm looking at a MacBook board, for example, I'm trying to find liquid damage. Yeah, you need to kind of tip it around and try and look at the different angles to get the light in different ways. And maybe having a 3D scope will help that because you got 2 points of vision straight away. So yeah. Resistance is futile, yeah, exactly. Missed the show, GB. Alright. Oh, still way behind. Okay, Gear, thanks for dropping by. Probably gone by now. Chip SDR. Yeah. I've actually got some SDRs somewhere in a box. I've got a box of modules, all these things. These little projects I was going to get to and do videos on. And SDRs are a couple of things I've got in there. Yeah, I'm probably never going to get to it. Web address reverse engineering. Just do Google searches, mate. Pathfinder, just search Google. That's your best bet. And just be specific search terms, you know. You know, if you're trying to decode serial or reverse engineer serial communications, do that search or whatever, or particular devices. Just do that. Yeah, command line. Yeah, so what I did find a bit hard is trying to figure out that. I mean, it wasn't too bad, but it was a bit clunky. I prefer GUI, definitely. Hey, Olafar, how's it going? Yeah. SDRs a bit around. Oh yeah, I suppose yes, you could do sweeps and check for signal strengths popping up. Certainly could do that. Yeah. Can I make a reverse engineering bus pirate? Well, bus pirators, there's videos out there already, so I suggest you just do a search on YouTube for bus pirate videos. There's people out there which are a lot more familiar with that device than I am. I've only just got one. I've only used it once, and I certainly only scratched the surface about what I could do. I'm certainly no expert on it. Reverse engineering, I'm not an expert in. You know, I've done a little bit and figured things out over the years, mostly electronics based rather than serial communication kind of thing. But I've reverse engineered all kinds of weird things. An example, everyone's familiar with CB radio from the 80s probably. There was a unit called a DigiScan, and that was, you plugged it into, well, it was connected up to a CB radio, and you replaced the POL or interface with the POL depending which type it was, and you basically sent different binary or BCD signals or replaced the POL entirely with its own one to control the radio frequency. So instead of having 40 channels, you would have, I don't know, was it 400 channels? Something like that, depending on what the limits were on the radio. Anyway, I reverse engineered one of those and made my own. To give you an idea, I actually designed one. I've got the circuits somewhere, I've got the etching, and actually made some improvements to it as well. But I based it on, I copied their design basically. These days you can do most of it with an Arduino. Most of the circuitry didn't need to be there, and that's what I ended up doing. Adam, you know it, do you? You're familiar with them, aren't you, Adam? Actually, I'll show you something. Let me find it. I've got it here in my folder. Let me just try and make a gap so I don't knock everything off the shelf. Hopefully not. Give me a second. Get a close up view of my beard. How's it going? You reckon it's looking alright? I was having a lot of shaving. I've been growing this beard since July. What the hell, why not? Let's try and find it. I've got this book of information here. All my little projects and things like that, all in here. Various things I worked on, mostly CB related, this stuff. Mostly crystal oscillators, circuits, crystal switching circuits, Roger beeps circuits, various ones, even on perf board designs before I started etching. Where are they? It's in here somewhere. I want to show you it. EEPROM boards. POL replacement boards, which I also reversed engineered from someone else's design and modified.
Where are we? Sitting here somewhere. Lots of pages. Oh, hold on, there we go. Yep, I call it DS1, that's what I called it. I'll show you, I'll get the board out. So, there's the PCB layout for etching, and there's the front panel PCB layout for etching. And there's the component layouts on the back. So that's my version of a Digiscan. But say these days you can do most of it in Arduino. So yeah, I've done a bit of like hardware reverse engineering. Oops, something's not clipped in properly. It's all going to fall out. Oh no, it's all going to be a disaster. Right. Can't get it back in. There we go. Solder's a bit full. So yeah, that's. I'll chuck it down for now. Sort it later. Seven years going down to CB. Yeah, I've got a couple of them. I've got a couple of different versions, and so I got my own one which I built. I built 3 of them. Yeah, so I only built 3. So I did the prototype, and then I think I did one which I then fitted to a radio for someone. I've got another one sitting around somewhere, I think. I think it's on one of my radios actually, which is stuffed away somewhere. So yeah, but I didn't really, because it took a lot of effort to make the things, it wasn't really worthwhile. You know, I had to etch the boards, which took ages, and because the traces are so fine, I had problems with some of the traces breaking or over etching and it being eaten away. So it was a bit hard. If I were to do it again now, I'd be using an Arduino to do all the control with an OLED display and chuck a PLL on the back end of it. Done. Wouldn't be too hard at all. I've done a similar kind of thing using an Arduino Pro Mini, I think it was, or was it a Leonardo? Leonardo I've used in a CB conversion. I did that. It's on my channel somewhere. Let's have a look at that, shall we? I'll chuck a link into that and you can look at it later on if you're interested. Can you find it? No, not with that term. So I can find it. I did it ages ago. It wasn't a great video. I have to say, it was not a great video. I was trying to search CV, so it could be anywhere. Leo stick, Arduino Leo stick, that's what it was. Okay, I'll chuck that link in there. You have a look at that. It's only a little short video just demonstrating it. Nothing particularly exciting, but that gives you an idea of what else I've built. Let's have a look. Let's catch up with chat again. Most components no longer available, discontinued. I did actually stock up on parts when I was going to start making them. This is a bad habit of mine. When I do something like this and work on a project, I will stock up. Okay, so I will get loads. So any parts that those things used, I've probably got 50 of or 100 of. So I've got display drivers, I've got the BCD to binary converters, and vice versa. PICs, was it decimal, 7 segment display drivers. I've got a bunch of those. All those chips and counters as well. I've got a bunch of them because I stocked up because I was going to make some, and then I didn't end up making them. I put a lot of effort into those. I think I took about
2 weeks, I think. I think it took me 2 weeks to reverse engineer those and actually get my first prototype, something like that. Anyway. Try new boards no, I haven't tried any of those. I'm keen to stick with what I've got. Like, again, I've got a stock, right? So I've got a whole bunch of Arduino Pro Minis, Pro Micros. I've got a couple of Unos. Yeah, mostly Pro Minis because I use those. I actually made a footprint for them and I use that design in a lot of the projects I make. So if I'm using a device, I'll use a Pro Mini because I've got a footprint which I use in Eagle, and I just drop that in and I can then use that as a template, you know. So I can just hook up to that and write the code for it. Because the Pro Minis are pretty good. Micros I like because it's got the USB interface built in. So yeah, things like that. But I haven't done a huge amount with Arduino. I haven't done like hundreds of projects and all that. Just, you know, maybe a dozen or two, something like that. Hey, Chuff Pup. Guess your winnings in there. Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's like a part discount or something. Like if you get 100 units instead of one, I think you get a discount generally. Depends on where you're getting from. Obviously, projects like that in your parts bins, yeah. I'm bad for starting a project and then getting bored with it and moving on. I've got a few projects around here like that. Although I do intend to get back to these things. Like, I've got some repair videos to do. Like, I've got the 2955, which I need to sit down and do. Once I get this other project out of the way, I'll put that to one side because it's not urgent. With this project I'm working on for the reverse engineering of that interface, I'm kind of in a race as well. Someone else has mentioned they're looking at doing an interface as well, which is used by judges for the events. Theirs is a different system, but I don't want the two systems to be conflicting. So if I can get mine out there first, he'll have to conform to mine rather than me having to conform to his. Yeah. So I'm trying to get this done fairly quickly, but I also need to make sure it's going bulletproof. That's the tricky part about that. Common stuff in volume, yeah, I do buy things. I mean, if I'm buying Arduino boards, I buy 10 at a time, maybe more. Yeah, common stuff I buy a stack of. Part of my problem is I've got a lot of stuff and trying to find it, which is part of the reason I built that My Parts Bin site. If you haven't checked it out yet, mypartsbin.com, go there, have a look. Free to use, help yourself. Although I haven't actually started using it myself yet. I built it for me and I thought, well, I'll share it and let everybody else also use it. But I need to actually sit down and start figuring out what I've got, where it is, and put it on the site. But because I've got these projects on the go and things I'm trying to get done, I've just put that in the back burner for now. I'll get to it eventually. So building a site wasn't much of an issue. I did that in a couple of days. You know, it wasn't much at all. It's pretty easy to do. But yeah. Let's see what there's something here. So over here, probably see it on camera, can you? There's a little set of drawers just here. Yeah, I've just got loads of chips. These are 4,193, which I think are in the DigiScan. 4511s, I think those are the LED drivers, aren't they? 4511s, so I've got a bunch of them. 4011s, again, they're in LED driver section. I think they were part of the inverter section or something. I can't remember what they are now. But a bunch of those. I've got a drawer full of these. It's probably for that. Yeah, I've got all sorts. I tend to get carried away, as I say. Got 40192. Was it 40192? 4584. Got a bunch of them. 4093s. Yeah. POLs. I've got a bunch of POLs on there. EC1 for 5106. I've got about 20 of them. Something like that. Because they're using digicans. But then I ended up making a different version of the device, which is, I don't have it in my book actually because I've progressed from that. It's all electronic now. But that's the MC145170 POL with an Arduino controller, and that it's like an add-on board which has also got a value encoder for the channel selector and 3-digit channel display. Something I play around with. I did a few of those modules, just prototypes. I never actually sold any. I never actually went that far with it, but it does work. Again, I lost interest in it. It's a nice challenge, it's a nice educational opportunity, and I just play with that. Do a Xeon store on the floor. I do have some stuff on the floor. Mostly test gear though. I've got some MacBooks under the desk over there, which I've chewed up for me to fix them. I've got the 2955 on the floor over there, along with the Boonton 4210, I think it is, sitting over there. And over here I've got my Fluke 5200A, which I still need to get back to finish fixing. Some of you may remember the videos on the 5200A, that 19-part series. And I finished it basically with a little bit of ripple noise. So, I don't know, it was more of just noise really on the output at certain frequencies at below certain levels. So that, I really need to get back to that one day as well. I did try fixing a live stream when I followed the follow-up, I didn't quite finish it. I've got the Valhalla, which I've got to do a calibration on. That's the, what was that called? I forgot what it's called now. Can't even see it. 2703 AC calibrator. Yeah, I've got a couple of bits around. So I've got repair projects to do videos on, but I need to actually get around to it. Reusing parts if possible, yeah. I mean, all this stuff's all through always old parts, but there's a good chance I'll use them in something, even if it's just doing repairs, you know. If not, maybe I'll sell them, you know, one day as vintage parts, new old stock, make a fortune. Make up the care packages of extra components and gave them out to some beginners. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's a nice way of reducing your excess stuff. I'm sure they'd really appreciate it too. Yeah. Pathfinder, I don't know. Just do a search on YouTube. Just search and use the particular terms you want. That's the way to find what you want to find out about. I don't really have favourite YouTubers in that way as far as what they do. That's not something I've researched much about. Arduino, I'm self-taught. I just figure it out as I go. And I think I've watched various videos, you know, numerous videos on YouTube. I can't really say of any particular source. So, yeah. Well, Chris knows about sending parts, doesn't he? Chris, if those of you may have missed the video, I don't know if you've all seen it or not, but I did a video not long ago where Chris had sent through some parts for the 2955. Some OM, was it 345, was it? I can't remember the part numbers now. Some replacement parts, they're aftermarket sort of replacements for the obsolete parts, and Chris generously purchased some on my behalf and then sent them to me at no cost. So that was very generous of Chris, and I published a video mentioning Chris, and I think it's in part of the Mailbag, and pointing people to Chris's channel. So if you haven't seen Chris's channel or the Gear Now idea, go and have a look. Go there now and bookmark it and become a subscriber, because Chris does some good videos. I enjoy what he produces, and if you like what I like, which is quite possible, you probably like Chris's stuff too. I know he's got some subscribers out of that. I don't know how many you've actually gained. I think you did message me out, didn't you, Chris, saying something about 50 or something? But that was a little while ago now. Don't know how you're going now. I'm going to have to go and look now. Let's have a look. I did actually notice, Chris, when I was doing a search for your channel, there's a lot of people which call themselves All the Gear No Idea. I was actually surprised by how many there were. It's not just you, there's more than one. Oh, so yeah, you gained about 50 or so. Yeah, cool. You're almost at 1,000. Okay, Chris, catch you later, mate. Thanks for dropping by. Enjoy your time in Sydney. Hope it's not too hot. It's pretty hot here, it's pretty hot over there. It's about 28 degrees right now where I am. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that Fluke 5200A calibrator, that's a little project I do mean to get back to. And yeah, it basically works. It's because I've now got two AC calibrators. I've got the Fluke and I've got the Valhalla. I need to calibrate the Valhalla, which I've purchased all the bits for to do. So I've got the, what have I got? Got the Fluke 540A, is it 540A, 540B? I can't remember which one it is now. Which I did a video on, with replacing the Mercury battery with a lithium cell and a little charger, well, voltage regulator circuit. I did a video on that. I think I did it in the live stream as well. So I've got that. So that's a transfer standard, and I've got my Fluke 343A DC calibrator, and I've got Ian Johnston's PDVS2 Mini, which you would have seen hopefully from videos I've done. And so I've got these bits of gear. And the idea of all those things is to do calibrations more accurately, and so I need to merge all these bits together and actually calibrate the Valhalla. I just need to get it down and do it. I'm sure the Valhalla's okay. I did have some faults when I first got it, which is why I bought it, because it was faulty. And then I did some minor repairs. Actually, it's pretty minor. I didn't have to do much on it. I just recapped it, and it seemed to come right after that. And so whether it needs calibrating at all, I don't know. I haven't even dug that far into it. I got sidetracked with something else, some other projects, and then I put it to one side and haven't been back to it. And that's about a year ago now. And the helmet, how's it going? And the Fluke is that's been 2 years, just about 2 years. God, I really need to finish that. Rain or smoke? Probably smoke, based on the fires I've been having recently. There's a 488 interface board for the 4200. So I've got the 4200 and the 4220. Yeah, 4200 is that one. That's right. 4220 is one I've already repaired and did a refurb on. I don't know which one. One of them had an interface board on it, one didn't. I don't know which way around they were now. One had the 488 board on it. It was the 5100. Yeah, what I think annoyed me about the Fluke, what was that? Was that the high voltage stuff? Was it? I can't bloody remember now. Because I couldn't do the really high voltage, remember rightly. I'm actually forgetting. Because it doesn't have the big amplifier unit. So it's got a lower voltage limit. Whereas the Valhalla would go up to 1000. Something like that. Well, my memory's definitely going. It's not as good as it was. Okay, so that's that. What else can we look at? It's sitting here waffling the whole time. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's nice when you find things cheaply. So you spend a fortune on them. I'm sure there's something else I was going to look at today. What was that? I've lost myself now. I'm not quite sure what I was going to look at. Something else was going to feature on the stream. Because part of the reason I haven't done any live streams for a while is didn't really have much to try and cover. I was only doing like everyday stuff and nothing particularly interesting. And what time I had, I was trying to put into making videos to put on YouTube, rather than the live stream. I thought I'll do a live stream today because I've got a few things to cover, the project and everything. There's something else I was going to look at. I don't remember. Yeah. Anyone here got experience with LoRa? Doing LoRa? The wireless stuff? Any tips you can give me? If anyone has got experience with it? Waffle away, yeah. $40 to $200, yeah, that's not bad. You've loads of videos you need to make, yeah. Sometimes it's hard getting the motivation. There's been a couple of times I've dropped down to 2 videos in a week, and I haven't been recording much content recently. I've been recording very little. Basically, it's mailbags. I haven't been doing much else because I had so much stuff backed up. Even the mailbags, I'm really backed up. So the mailbag I'm publishing tomorrow, I recorded yesterday because I wanted to jump the queue because of the review items. And the previous mailbag I also jumped the queue because that's featured Chris. And so I've got mailbag videos already recorded and done until the end of December. So I'm like a month ahead on those already. And then I've got another review which will be published in just over a week's time. And then I've got a UPS battery hack. I modify it for a car battery, basically. Nothing that exciting, really. Pretty mediocre video it's going to be, probably. But I need something to fill the gaps. So that's probably going to be in 3 weeks' time. And hopefully by then I've got some more content to add to it. So this project I'm working on, the Farm Tech timer, I've recorded some video on that, which goes into a bit more detail about what I was talking with you before about. And so I'm going to be doing a video on that project. I don't know when that's going to be though, because I won't publish that until I've actually got further through the project and I've got more to show. So yeah. Yeah, I've seen some of Andreas Spice's videos. He does do some nice, easy to understand content. So I did some of his, and there's also one which I watched, which I thought was quite good. CT Tech, I think it was. Get that right, CT Tech. It's an Indian guy. It's not like high budget like Andreas is, really high professional graphics like that. It's very basic, but it's down to earth, and it's actually quite easy to understand, and he was actually quite good. So I quite enjoyed that. I actually commented on this video saying how much I enjoyed it. So so that's another one to look at as well. CT Tech. Apparently he actually knows me. He's knows of me. He's a subscriber to my channel too, as it turns out. Keithy makes a 488 interface card. I mean, the 488's been around for a long time, so it wouldn't surprise me that those things available. There's always probably an option. It's not everyone wanted to use them, but would have been expensive. You got 50-inch V on. Long wood screws to attach it. Oh dear. And you throw out a bunch of flat flags. So that's the thing. As soon as you throw something away, you need it. This is why you should never throw anything away. It's just inevitable, isn't it? As soon as you throw it away, that's when you're going to need it. You can guarantee it. Yeah. Well, so frustrating. Now you have to buy some. I actually picked up something. What did I do the other day? Oh no, I didn't actually buy it. I was going to buy some flat flex. I was going to buy some bits of it, just so I've got some sitting around in case I ever need some. My whole hoarding thing coming alive. I didn't actually go through that though in the end. I thought, if I ever need any, I'll buy some, and I'll just get the size I need, the pitch I need, and that sort of stuff, and wait instead, because you can buy it various sizes from AliExpress. Yeah, got it, anyway. AliExpress got it. Yeah. So yeah, but my advice: don't throw stuff away, because as soon as you throw it out, you're gonna need it. It's happened to me more than once. Like I've thrown something away, and the very next day I've needed it. Or even like my desk yesterday. I cleaned up my desk yesterday, and so I wanted to show you guys before when I was over there. The touch sensor thing for the automatic camera switch. I was going to quickly show you that again, because that's another project I need to actually finish or start. I'm not quite sure which way you want to look at that. And I put it away yesterday. It's like, see, as soon as I want it, I put it away. You got 50 wire powder cable. Yeah, I've got some of that somewhere. Yeah, there's a plain grey cable that drives. 50 wire was for SCSI, wasn't it? Is that right? Yeah, I think it's 50 wire was for SCSI, not IDE. I could be wrong. I can't remember now. Might be more than that. Don't remember. Been a while since I played with those things. Well, the stream is still dropping packets here and there, but it's kind of behaving. Yeah. Still trying to figure out what the other thing was I was trying to show you guys. What was it? It's gone. Yeah. Lost a brand new step mode after cleaning the workshop. Yeah. That's it. Don't clean up. That's my advice. Just like get a bigger desk and just push it to the side. And if your desk fills up, get another desk and push it to the side of that one. So it's 80 ribbon. 80 wire ribbon times 2. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's trying to look at polycols were right, because yeah, 40 and 50. Yeah. Anyway, don't know. Yeah, it must be 80. Yeah. Don't mind me. I'm just having brain farts. Okay. Right, well I've got some stuff I need to get on today too. I need to carry on work with this project. Tinker around. It's not going to be too exciting for you guys to watch, so I'm probably not going to bore you with it. Just playing around bits and pieces and bits of code. Actually, what I can tell you about is the ESP8266. When I first transferred my Arduino code, because I'm using the Arduino IDE obviously, right? So I then just set up the board manager to have the ESP8266 in it. So I thought it was all done previously. I think I did an update. So I did an update to it, that's right. I updated it to the latest version. It wouldn't bloody work. So I had to downgrade back to 2.5.7 or something like that in the 8266 version. A Microfix. And then that would work better. I was getting less errors. But I still couldn't get it to work. And I ended up having to comment out or remove the wire library link. I took that out and it would work. It's a bit weird. I was fighting with that fault for a while. And I couldn't figure it out. I was just trying things and commenting out bits to try and figure out what could be triggering the error I was getting on the 8266. And I was trying to upload, it just wouldn't upload. And yeah, I did get a random rebooting as well. What was that over? I can't remember what that was now. It just keep rebooting. I forgot what that was. But yeah, I had these problems. As soon as I commented out that wire library and took that out of it, then it behaved. I think maybe it's referenced in one of the other libraries. Maybe it already calls it up, and so it's been called twice, and so it didn't know what to do. Maybe it's resetting itself halfway through. Maybe on a second call with the wire library, it was stripping out all the settings that have been put into it already from the first call. I'm guessing something like that. Yeah. There were 10 by 10 foot shed as a workshop, and it's full. Yeah. Well, I've got this room here, which has got all the shelving up here full of bins, which I think I've shown previously. And I've got obviously this corner over here as well with stuff and little drawers. That's mostly bits and pieces like wires and cables and 3D printing stuff. That's all over there. And obviously parts drawers. And I've got my other room, which is basically used for storage. And I was going to make that another test lab. I was going to make that another lab for doing radio work. But then I haven't done any radio work in a while. And it's dying. And so I didn't really bother setting that up. So that room is basically used for storage. And I've got bits and pieces like bits of test gear out there and overflow of parts and bulk stock things. I bought a whole bunch of auction stuff earlier this year, and I was getting packets of screwdrivers, individual screwdrivers, like bulk lots of different types, all the same brand. I've got dozens of screwdrivers out there and like sterling packets and all sorts of stuff and bulk, lots of crimp terminals, that kind of thing. And it's all just like out there. I've got no idea what half the stuff out there is. I know I've got test gear out there, like the overflow from here, stuff I'm trying to sell, that kind of thing as well is out there. So it's not in my way. Yeah. Memory overload. Okay. That rebooting. I'm trying to think of what's causing that rebooting now. I did solve it. Obviously I solved it because I demonstrated it. I'm trying to think what it was. Maybe helpful for someone. Because at the time when because I had that connected up to my serial interface to the computer, so through the Arduino IDE, so I could see the serial output from the ESP8266. And it is outputting generic ESP8266 data. Or maybe it's a previous program that was in it or something like that. And that's what's coming out. And what I was trying to send to serial from my code wasn't appearing at all. There might have been that wire interface thing, that wire library. There might have been that. I know what it was. I was trying to use some pins which are allocated to the flash. So it's corrupting the flash when it booted. And then it reboot because the flash was corrupt and it's kept boot looping. That's what it was. So I was trying to use one of the GPIO pins which was used for the flash as well. Was internal memory. And although those pins are broken out, you shouldn't actually use them. And I was doing some research and I was like, I'm using that pin. Took that one off and it worked. That's what it was. So yeah. So watch out for the GPIO and those things. Yeah. Because it was spitting out an error code on boot in the serial data, so it was actually spitting that out and then boot looping and spitting out again and again and again. I can't remember what the code was now. It did give an error code. So yeah, I think that might be how I found it. As I looked that up and it mentioned about flash or something, and then I realised, oh shit, I'm using one of the GPIO pins I shouldn't be using. Yeah. Should I jump in the code and just quickly show you some of the code? Because I keep on reverting to talk about this project because that's what's in my head right now. Let's put up Arduino. We'll chuck this up here. And it's a bit clunky. Why is that not? It's not going to cooperate, is it? seems to think it's between two windows. It's not between two windows. Hold on. Right. There you go. So I've got some generic example code and shoved it in there as a starting point for all of the display stuff, obviously. So I'm using the ESP3266. And I've taken these defines out because I've done the definition in the library itself. Because the library will override it, and if you've got a conflict between the two, you can't do it, it just fails. So, and if you update the library, it will take out the commenting. So as I found out, I did an update after I'd already commented it out, and I was using these to define it. And then I updated the library, and obviously it took out the commenting, and it went back to how it was. So I commented these out and just changed the library. Obviously that's for the OLED, and they've got this other stuff here, various configuration stuff. Why library you can see is commented out, and it's working just fine without it. Yeah, and it's serialization stuff, and also pin modes for doing the inputs, which I'm not currently using, although they were working. I was using that. I was going to use EEPROM, but I decided not to use EEPROM in the end. I thought it was a bit hard to deal with. Maybe if I can't get the SD card working, then I'll use EEPROM, but I thought, I won't use EEPROM. I've left it in there in case I do decide to go back to it or use it for settings or something like that. It's not coming about not having enough memory, because I was going to use the SD card. That's the code for the SD card, but not enough memory in the Pro Micro, so I couldn't do it. So I haven't gone back to it yet. That's the bit I need to do. This is for handling display, so what I'm doing is I've got like a global variable which I use for the display text, and each function it has will just replace that line with the current function. So it just specifies the text as that, and then when you do an update display, it puts it in. Buttons, debouncing, timer functions, which is actually doing the interfacing of the actual unit, the main timer. So it's reading it, it's doing all the replacements and cleaning it all up so I can then handle the code properly. It's kind of messy. I'm probably going to tidy all this up more yet and make it a bit nicer. And this is what generates the actual display. And there's that do new display function there, which does the creation of display. This is handling the fault section of it for the buttons. And this is for completing the reading and sending it off to the server. So I've got to put a lot of stuff in here yet for the submission to the server, and I've got the reset code in here. That's ready. That's what works. But I need to do the bits for sending to LoRa or Wi-Fi, or whatever I'm going to do. And obviously the main loop here, I just call each function. This is how I structure things. So the loop has the calls to the functions, and I create functions for each piece. It just keeps it a bit tidier. So the loop is nice and simple. Right? Yeah, so that's that. Quick flick through the code. Oh, Alan's going. Okay, thanks for dropping by, Alan. Catch you later. So yeah, I've still got a lot to do on that code yet. You can see it's lots of comments in there, lots of bits which I've removed. So I've got to do a lot on it yet. So yeah, I try and comment code as well where I can. So if I go back in 5 years' time, looking and go, what the hell was that bit doing? Because the amount of times I've gone back and go, oh, I don't remember. At the time you think, oh, I remember that. Then you go back and go, oh, no, I don't. So yeah, I try and make sure I comment stuff these days. Sometimes it's hard because you're just trying to get something to work, and then you forget to go back. It's always part of the fun, isn't it? But it's making progress. You can see I've got it outputting the way I want it to output, and although it's messy, all those replacements from the strings, it works. I suppose at the end of the day, it's what matters. And so you see, yeah, next stage is to get the whole wireless networking sorted out, and I'll probably do the SD card part next. Actually, just whilst I'm waiting for the wireless stuff to turn up. I've got the SD card adapter, so I'll probably get that bit working next and get it dumping to SD card and solve that problem. and then I can look at the wireless and the bigger display as well once those arrive. And obviously then I've got to do the server side of it and receive the data and what to do with it then, and how I'm going to receive it, how I'm going to handle it, and all that problem. So yeah. Okay. I'm going to send a little thing to Dave soon too, actually. I don't know if you guys ever saw it, but I visited Dave last year. Was it Dave Jones, EV Blog Dave? What was that? Was that July? I think it's July last year. I think it was just after the flood. My house was flooded and couldn't live in here. By the sea came in and made us homeless for a little while. As the house was just complete for being ready to move back into, I went over to saw Dave, and I gave him a calculator, a Casio 731P, I think it was, something like that. And he did a little video at the time. I featured on his channel. Anyway, I found the cable for it. This is an interface cable for that calculator, and it's supposed to be for peripherals like printers, things like that. I'm not sure exactly. I know I had a printer. I don't know what else it possibly plugged into, but I found a cable for it. Now I do still have a couple of those calculators lying around somewhere. We had 3 of them all up, but I'm never going to use this cable. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to package this up. I'm going to send this to Dave, and I'll chuck a little note in there for him as well. For his Mailbag, I hope it gets featured in Mailbag. So here we go. I'll get some more subs. Whenever Dave mentions me on his channel, I'll get some more subscribers, which is always great. So I'm going to sort that out today probably too and get that sent off. Working on stuff doing MT Connect. What's MT Connect? I'm not familiar with that. Of course, I've got the delay, so I've got to wait for you to see my comment. And I'm going to wait for you to respond. Yeah, anyway, yeah, I'm not familiar with what MT Connect is. That's a new one on me. Machine monitoring. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Is that using CAN bus and stuff like that, is it? Not like I know anything about it, I'm just guessing. I know at my work, my day job, they have some machine monitoring in place, and it does have CAN bus and Ethernet networking between various things. They never actually finished the system though, so they actually did a little bit and they didn't really invest much more money in it. So it's not actually working. Yeah. Yeah, it's like that. Oh yeah. I'm sure there's something else I was going to cover. Oh, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, well what I think I might do is I might cut the stream off here and we'll call it a day. My throat's getting a bit sore from all the talking. And I won't be able to stream again for a little while. I'll probably stream over Christmas. I expect I will. As my project progresses, I'll probably do some more features of that and talk about it in the stream. RF for industrial. Oh yeah, okay. Well, RF is what I need to be doing right now. GB is with the whole LoRa and the whole networking between devices. So this project I'm working on is remote, so it's got to be in the middle of a field, battery powered, and talk back to my motorhome where all the main systems are. So I've got to do that with our wireless internet, and that's got to dump onto our website. You're probably going to run a local web server, that sort of stuff. So anyway, I'll do videos on that later on. So thanks everyone dropping by, and good to catch up with you all. Been a while, and I'll do some more streams over Christmas. I expect I have some time in. I have a couple of weeks off, so I'll probably sit down and do some streams and cover some more stuff. Maybe do some repairs. Tinker Dad, damn, you're just a bit late. I've been streaming for 2 hours. Wow, okay. Yeah, sorry mate, you missed it. I'm going now. My throat's getting a bit sore. I think running out of things to talk about, apart from waffling a lot. So, I may stream again maybe in a couple of weeks' time. Next weekend I was off, I've got a show to do. And in a couple of weeks' time I may stream in a couple of weeks' time and see how this project progresses. If I've got bits and pieces by then, I've got things to work on, I'll probably cover that and do a stream on it, because I think it's going to be interesting. So, alright, thanks everyone, catch you later, and thanks for dropping by. See you later.